I guess I never really lived until I turned 64. I thought to myself, David, what? Did he hold me back all these years? What did I deprive myself of? This questioning inside me felt like both a rebuke and an awakening. Bruce. He didn't say anything. He just watched me. And that gave me courage. He supported me. Not with his hands but with his eyes as my fingers slowly grabbed the straps and pulled them down. Oh, hi there. Didn't see you there. I was just telling a little story about what we went through. Let me start over so you can get the full picture of how it all unfolded. I was 64 years old, and honestly I never thought something as innocent as cleaning up would lead to this all. Thanks to my step-grandson suddenly showing up. It had been 12 years since my husband David passed away, leaving me feeling lonely and widowed for far too. It was late morning when I finally decided to tackle the one thing I'd putting off for years: cleaning out the basement, that chaotic little corner of the house that I avoided every time. Crossed my mind the thought of it, tightening my chest, but I'd gathered the courage to face it. That dusty room full of old boxes, musty-smelling junk, and memories of a lifetime. The first box I opened and revealed something that caught me completely off guard: an old photo album from my younger days. As I flipped through it, one particular photo stood out. It was from a beach party. There I was holding a margarita in one hand, wearing a bright orange bikini, laughing like I didn't have a care in the world. Carefree young Elizabeth, beaming with joy, stared back at me. Looking at that, the photo stirred something inside me. It was a mix of warm and sad memories I buried long ago, desires and excitement I'd suppressed. All came rushing back, and just then I heard a sound coming from the basement door. Startled, I turned around to see Bruce. My step-grandson was standing there. I hadn't seen him in 4 years. He looked broader now, more grown up, with that familiar smile of his. The last time I saw him he was 23. Now he must have been 27, he said, lifting a coffee cup in the air. Bruce, when did you get here? Asked, caught off guard but genuinely happy to see him. Just now, he replied, making his way down the stairs. Saw your car outside and I figured I'd come in. It looks like you could use some help. I was about to say no, I've got this, but before I could see he'd already walked over. A determined look on his face for someone so young. His eyes landed on the album. Was holding. What's this? He asked before I could snatch the photo out of his hand. He froze for a moment. His eyes were locked on that picture of young Elizabeth on the beach. He stared at it for what felt like an eternity before turning to me. Is this you? Well, yeah, I said, with a nervous laugh. My wild years back in the day. Bruce's gaze shifted from the photo back to me. There was something in his eyes, a mix of admiration and surprise. It was both unsettling and oddly kind of warming. Wow, it's just weird to think of you like this, but impressive, he said, smiling. If you're enjoying these little confessions, join me on my channel for more. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications, because trust me, this story is just getting started and it's one you won't want to miss. I felt a flicker of something inside me, something I couldn't quite understand. My feelings I had buried for years, emotions David had never truly awakened in me. They surfaced for just a moment, but this wasn't right. It couldn't be all right enough with a trip down memory lane. I said quickly, closing the album. We've got to start hauling these old boxes out of here. But I had no idea where that photo of Bruce's expressions, and this storm is brewing inside me. They were going to take me. Bruce gently stopped my hands as I tried to close the album. We really need to look at this, he said, half joking, half serious. It's unbelievable seeing you so young and vibrant and different. Come on, let's look a little more. I hesitated for a moment. Not all the pictures in that album were innocent. Beyond those carefree beach snapshots, there were bolder photos, moments that captured the wilder side of my youth. But seeing how fascinated Bruce was and feeling the admiration in his eyes, I couldn't say no. All right, I said with a small smile, but some of these photos might be a bit much. Bruce chuckled and nodded. I'm sure Everything's great, he said, taking the album into his lap as he sat down beside. To me, his breath was close enough to brush my skin as we flipped through the pages. The beach party photos gave way to snapshots of my college years in nightclubs. One photo showed me in a tight backless red dress dancing tipsily. Bruce lingered on that one, staring at it. A little too long. Is this really you? He asked, his eyes dart between the photo and me. His face lit up with a mix of awe and curiosity. Music? Yeah, I replied a little bashfully. It was just youth, you know, things were different back then. Bruce was silent for a moment before finally saying, "You're incredible." He paused and then added, "All this time I've only ever thought of you as my grandmother, but you were like a total, I don't know, party girl." His words made me blush, but at the same time they stirred something inside me. I thought about how David had never shown me that kind of admiration. Even though I was younger, he'd always been distant and cold and strict, but Bruce, he was different. The look in his eyes told me more than his words ever could. As we kept flipping through the album, the photos got bolder. There was one of me laughing with friends wearing a short pair of shorts and a bikini top. Another showed me dancing in a nightclub in a plunging black dress. Bruce smiled softly and said, "It's a privilege to see these even when you were younger. The beauty was breathtaking." David was one lucky man. His words warmed me, but they also, it made me feel something else. Something strange. The more I felt Bruce's, the more I pay attention his interest, the more I realized there was a pull between us. He was like the kind of man I had dreamed of when I was younger, confident, openly admiring, and eager to discover the parts of me I'd kept hidden. When we reached the last page, Bruce closed the album but didn't move his eyes from me. "Elizabeth," he said in a low voice, "you're truly extraordinary." I was surprised and moved by his words. It had been so long since anyone had looked at me that way or said things like that. Happened to me as my eyes locked with Bruce. I felt the air between us grow heavier. Something was shifting despite the cold, dusty atmosphere of the basement. A warmth rose inside me. Bruce's presence was making me. I felt young again. At the same time, I had no idea where these feelings were taking place. When Bruce closed the album and turned to me, there was still that deep admiration in his eyes. "Elizabeth," he said, his voice low but completely sincere, "after seeing all those pictures, I have to say this to you. You haven't aged a day. You still look young and absolutely beautiful." The compliment took my breath away for a moment. Even in my youth, I wasn't used to hearing words like that, especially not from David. My heart beat a little faster, and I felt a slight warmth creeping into my cheeks. "Thank you, Bruce," I said, "but there's no hiding the fact that I've aged." Still, I paused for a moment, gathering my courage before continuing. "Maybe I've gotten older, but I haven't lost touch with my desires. I still hold on to them, never let go of them." Bruce smiled, his green eyes locked on mine. Bruce smiled and said, "I can feel that unwavering connection. You're not just beautiful, you're absolutely captivating." I couldn't help but let my eyes wander over his broad, athletic frame. It for a moment. His tall stature was wide-e shoulders and slightly curled blonde. His hair gave him the air of a movie star. But what struck me the most was a confident yet gentle expression in his greenies. It's interesting hearing something like that from someone like you," I said. Smiling faintly, I added, "David was nothing like you. He was always so calm, so distant. He never did anything to truly surprise or excite me. He was a good man." But Bruce tilted his head, listening intently. "But not the kind of man you desired, right?" he asked. Thought about looking away but couldn't. "Yeah," I said honestly, "David was never as exciting or passionate as I am. I wish he could be. I'm not saying he was a terrible man, but I always felt like something was missing." Bruce was quiet for a moment.